Ashley Maley here on the Big Breakfast on TAB Radio. Time now to catch up with Gray Williamson. What a great Saturday it proved to be for Gray, of course, owning a Quinella in a Perth Magic Millions 3-year-old trophy with Red Aura, and also Fireborn does a great job breeding his horses, and a special result for him on Saturday. He's been good enough to join us this morning here on the Big Breakfast. Very good morning to you, Gray. David Short and Richie Bell with you. Congratulations. This is what you're involved in the caper for, results like this on Saturday. Well done.
Good morning, boys. Yes, and listeners. Yeah, look, it was absolutely a terrific Saturday for us. Couldn't have been worked out any better.
And with such a great bunch of owners bringing so much to the racetrack. And the amount of people that they're bringing along on the ride as well is just fantastic.
I think the racing gods have stepped in here. What you've done with these people is a very generous act. Obviously, the first horse that didn't go to plan, and you've been good enough to then offer up Red Aura, who's now gone on to win 5 straight races. This feature race on Saturday, I think it was a great thing that you've done for racing, great for publicity, and have a look at the rewards that you're getting now. And what a ride it must be, along with all these boys from the 1975 Aquinas class, and what a time they're having.
It certainly is. You know, it was just a chance weekend when these fellas just came down. You know, they just decided to have a long weekend, and ended up, and they stayed one night down at our place, and yeah, well, when they were there, we discussed getting a horse, and Jan and I said pretty much to them, well, look, if the first one doesn't work out, and it becomes it's a dud, we'll replace the dud with another dud, you know.
Nice work. Have you seen the West Australian yet? A beautiful photograph on page 58.
No, look, I haven't had a chance to yet this morning, so...
it's a ripper photo of the celebrations after the win. Dan just swamped by all the boys in the red jackets.
I know. Look, it's such a wonderful story that, one boy who's got a shop in Manning, he wore a red jacket to the first meeting, and then everyone's gone, oh, that looks pretty good. That'll just, cement the idea of all of us being together. And anyway, just the fact that he's won 5 on end.
And what about this horse? He's a beauty, very versatile. Dan Morton's just placed the horse so well.
He has. Look, Dan's done an exceptional job on him, and of course having Willie on the back doesn't hurt either. He's done a marvellous job.
Just the versatility for this horse is great. I mean, it must be delightful to know that you've got many options going into these races. A horse that can race on speed, sit off it. I thought the win prior to Saturday up against the older horses, where things went wrong in the run, was just the writing on the wall of how far this horse has come in a really short space of time. That many horses would have found excuses to be beaten on that occasion, but Red Aura clicked up late and won really well, and we saw it again. That acceleration late in its races is really exciting.
Look, we reckon he's had 5 starts, 5 wins, but at no time have we gone, yeah, that was the perfect run, for him. He's either over-raced, or, he's got caught behind, or something's happened like that, and he still finds a way to win this horse. It's just so fantastic. And then when you've got 30 or 40 people in the grandstand cheering for him, it's pretty hard to hold him out.
Oh, so true. The momentum's massive. And the runner-up was great as well. Fireborn, of course, we saw the horse resume with a great win, a very speedy galloper, sitting outside the leader and winning really well. Its second run for the prep was good, but I thought back to its best there on Saturday. Really nice effort to finish runner-up behind Red Aura. Yes, and look,
Fireborn, we've always had a lot of time for Fireborn, and we just did one little thing with it, and it's made a big difference to her, I think. And what you saw Saturday is is the true Fireborn. The one where she sort of faded out a bit at the turn, that's not the real Fireborn. So yeah, I think she's back to her best, and she's pretty super. I think Red Aura's a super horse, and she's not far behind him. She's got a lot of talent.
Where are these two horses heading, Gray?
Look, Fireborn will just make her way along. She's only had a couple of starts this prep, so she'll just keep going. Red Aura will actually head to the paddock now, and we've just got to have it sit down with Dan and a couple of the boys and just have a nut out really where we're going to go with him. We expect to be running in a maiden somewhere, not to be winning 5 on end. So it's far outweighed our expectations of what we were going to do, and now we have got a serious horse on our hands.
Sure, most definitely. The good times look set to roll. Obviously, it's a really busy week for you, Gray, with the sales on this week. Yeah,
look, it is. And, something like Saturday never hurts. we'd produced both Magic Millions winners out of our draft. Lucky Street came out from last year, and then we'd actually had the Tassie winner on Thursday as well, so Magic Millions winner. So
remarkable. Was that the Mark Riley horse?
Yeah, it is. Yes. Yeah. We've just had an exceptional week. So, look, yeah, there's lots of good. I've seen lots of horses down there in other drafts as well as ours, and the horses all present well down there. I think it'd be great to see as many people down there as possible and put their hand up, because you never know when you're going to get another Red Aura.
Talk us through some of the stock you've got going through the ring.
Look, we've got our first of the Dick Turpin draft going through, and we just couldn't be happier with the way that they've come up. They're beautiful, long-reined horses, exceptionally well, easy to handle, and there are some absolute standout horses amongst those.
Okay, and what do you like about the breeding of Dick Turpin?
Look, he's the Neurave line, which has worked in Australia quite a few times, everything from, our Oratorio, Neurave line horse, so we know it works already in WA. He's on his dam side, he's got Caro, he's got Princely Gift. Those have worked really well in Western Australia, and his third dam's a half sister to Zedan, who, of course, he all those Grey Sovereign horses or Kenmare horses that have done really well in Western Australia. That was the reason for that. So I think he's going to mesh really well with all the mares here, and proof's in the pudding, and that'll be on race day. But, the stock or anything to go by, they look sensational.
How many horses will you be preparing for the sale, Gray?
We've got 47 going through the ring.
It's a busy time. You must have plenty of great staff helping you out through this next little patch.
Oh, look, the one thing about Mungrub is, it's a good thing because it's a family business. We've got two of my daughters are up, Claire, who does most of the horse work these days with a really good group of staff, and Anne, who handles all the office work and does all the advertising with her husband Tom. So it's a family business, but we've got some tremendous staff, yes.
Well, great. The job yourself and Jan do as well, as far as sponsoring and getting behind the big race down there in Mount Barker for the sprint race each year. It's been a great partnership between yourselves and the Mount Barker Turf Club, and it's one of the great races each and every year down there in the south.
Oh, look, we love the Grapes and Gallops week. That's really good. Nice when we've got a runner. We didn't have one this year, but it has, there's some pretty damn good horses, and the winner again this year just came to Perth, and open company up here just showed how strong that race is. I
believe the horse that won the 2-year-old Magic Millions by Oratorio out of Rory's Song is heading down there again next week for the other restricted race as well. Yes,
look, and he won really impressively on the Thursday night, so it'd be pretty hard to see him getting actually rolled in that one, I'd say. Right. That was his first start, so he's only just got to improve, you'd think.
Fair bit of upside to come. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Gray. Congratulations, unbelievable weekend for you. All the very best with all your horses at the sales there, to yourself and all the team at Mungrub.
Well, thanks very much. And look, if anyone wants to have a look at how much fun a group of guys can have, if they go onto YouTube and have a look at Red Aura, you just see how much fun a group of people can have, grandsons, grannies, grandkids, etc. It's just worth having a look at.
That sounds like a feel-good piece of work there. Hop on YouTube and pop in Red Aura. Good on you. Thanks so much, Gray. All the very best.
Thanks, boys.
Gray Williamson here on